you ever experienced or witnessed racism before?
Yes, I have witnessed and I have experienced racism. When I experienced racism, it was about my religion, and what this person said was very rude. This person said he said to me that your religion is wrong, and why are you doing these things, and to go back to your country, meaning India, where I'm from. And the thing is, you want to try and ignore these things because you shouldn't let them affect you like how others have, and that's the key.
When did you witness it?
I witnessed it at my school when it happens, like during sports sometimes, when you're just trying to trash talk about maybe, oh, I'm better than you and stuff like that, but it can get race involved. And I don't think it really affected them because it was in sports, but I still think it was wrong to even start it up during the game.
I interviewed someone from the Jane Society of North Texas. She said that she had not been racially discriminated, but I asked her about how she thought that racism had gotten worse or improved over the past years. She said that racism has gotten worse because people have been able to do it through technology, and technology could lead to more racism and more ways to spread racism. But she also thought that technology also made it so people could become more aware of their problems, because although it opened loopholes so people could be racist, it also made it so people would become more aware. I also asked her about the Curtis Cole incident, and she believed that the Curtis Cole Center must have had the reasons. I think that this is her opinion, but I still believe that it should be that even though they have reasons, that they are well-paying citizens and should have had their rights.
A fundraiser to build a center dedicated to teaching Muslims how to combat negative depictions of their faith drew crowds of protesters Saturday in Garland. Some who picketed the event said Islamic beliefs pose a threat to the American way of life. Counter-protesters also attended, urging understanding and cooperation. Because of safety concerns, the conference's organizers increased security at the Curtis Cole Center near North Star Road and the President George Bush Turnpike. This was a huge example of racism in the community.
So, Officer Beyond, have you ever experienced racism in the police department?
I have not. I've seen the Plano Police Department. I'm thankful to say I have not.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, have you ever been involved in a police case regarding racism?
I have not. All of my police work has been done here in Plano.
Okay. The next question is, have you, what do you do to cope with racism?
Well, I haven't, like I said, witnessed it personally. I think when I do talk to people about treating everyone. I think that everyone has infinite worth, and everyone should be treated with dignity and respect. And so I don't think racism is something that should be tolerated anywhere. Everyone should realize we're all part of the human family. And treat everyone with kindness and respect. So that's what I would say. I try to treat everyone with kindness and respect, and that's what I teach my children, and that's what I teach the youth that I speak to.
What does racism mean to you?
That's a great question. Probably the way I grew up, I always think about it is if you are treating someone that is not like yourself poorly. So it could be, when I grew up, it was a lot about color. So African American, Hispanics, you have different things from that standpoint. But it can go beyond that. It could be even if your lifestyle is different than someone else's. So to me, it's kind of gone. Racism is about anything that is different from you that you think is wrong, and you treat it in such an improper way that it's affecting the other.
Have you ever experienced or seen racism?
Yeah, very much.
Can you tell me about that?
Sure, yeah. So So I was fortunate enough. My dad used to play pro football in the NFL and used to coach, and so back in that time frame, African Americans were just kind of coming in. You could see a huge difference in how other football players would treat them just because of the color of the skin. And then as time progressed, you also saw that change. So that was probably my first introduction to racism. It was just because the way someone looked differently than them, that they were treated harshly. And it may have been just the tone of the voice, the words, how they communicated, to the slang or vulgar kind of references to them.
It's a great example. Have you ever seen racism in Boy Scouts or discrimination?
You can look at it from a couple different ways. You could say Boy Scouts doesn't allow girls into it unless it's on the venture side of it. So technically it does. Is that racism?
Sexism. But
I don't necessarily see that as racism or sexism because it is. You have Girl Scouts, so the Girl Scouts don't allow boys. It's okay to have a group or an organization that is of a certain demographic.
Yes.
I think is okay. You've got the NAACP, and there's not a whole lot of white people that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You could start to look at it from a Boy Scout point of view. Up until recently, there was some changes from a lifestyle perspective, and I'm talking about homosexuality. Right. So up until recently, if you were gay, a boy, then you couldn't get your eagle, and so you could consider that a form of racism to a certain degree. Right. It's a lifestyle, so sometimes that may not be considered racism, but there is a form of prejudice within that. So,
yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes, that's it.
Oh, all right, cool.
Thank you
the
very
best
much.
short interview.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling the Traditionalist American Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. We're unapologetically committed to the interests and values of the white race. We are determined to maintain and enrich our cultural and racial heritage. White people will simply not buy the equality propaganda anymore and have begun to doubt some of the anti-Klan hysteria that they have been fed in school and from TV and movies. The Traditionalist American Knights of the Ku Klux Klan is simply a movement of white people for the highest standards of Western Christian civilization.
After listening to the interview with the KKK, I was disgusted with what they said, and I realized that what they're doing should be illegal, and they're extremely racist.
Hello. My name is Drake, and I'm going to be asking you, how did you cope with racism?
One of my students told me that she went to a school and didn't think she would ever have to worry about anything because it was full of white people, and that she would never have to worry about anything. And I was offended because I don't think that race has anything to do with whether or not people are bullies or whether or not you have to defend yourself. And I called her out on it, and she said, "Oh, my bad." And that was it.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
One of the things we love most about our community is that it's a huge salad of diversity. We loved learning about people and their families through interviews and the traditions they carry based on race and religion. Understanding and empathizing with people different from us in some way will not only improve our own world, but end the fear that many have when faced with what they don't understand. Fear is one of the biggest causes of racism and any kind of hatred.